Hello, my name is David Starkman, and the purpose of this video is to explain how to clean the inside surfaces of the lenses of the ViewMaster Model D viewer. Unlike all the other ViewMaster viewers, this both has larger magnification and it has two element lenses that are in a lens capsule that looks like this, which is air spaced. And over the years, it can get foggy on the inner surfaces, and the only way to clean them is to get inside this viewer. And over the years, I've learned a way to do it without, you do have to take it apart partially, but I've learned how to do it without taking out the entire focusing mechanism. So that's what we're going to show you how to do today. Okay, so here we have the sort of classic, this is the ViewMaster Model L. It came in orange and other colors, and it was made for a long time. And this and almost all the previous viewers have a single element lens, kind of a lens similar to this, smaller, but just a single element. And they're not necessarily, some are lighted, but that's your standard viewer. And then back in the 50s, when the ViewMaster personal camera came out, they also introduced this viewer called the Model D. This is my favorite viewer and the one I use all the time. And the advantage to the Model D is it is not only lighted by pressing the bar on the back, but it has a larger magnification. The standard viewer has I think it's a 5x magnification. And this is 7 or 7.5 magnification, and it focuses. So you're seeing a larger image. A problem with this viewer, however, is it's got a two-element lens, which is air-spaced. The lens is in a lens capsule that looks like this, and it has little fingers all around, which allow air to get in and out. And at the time, and they patented this design, and at the time, I'm sure they thought this was an advantage, and it was also an advantage that they could cheaply assemble it because the lens just presses in. What they didn't anticipate is the continuous air getting in and out eventually starts leaving a film on the inner surfaces. So if you look into a lighted viewer of this model and it's a bit foggy, the only way to fix that is to get this lens capsule out and clean it. And that's what I'm going to explain how to do today without totally disassembling the viewer. Right, the first step is in disassembling the viewer is to get at the lenses is remove the back part. That's where it holds the batteries and the light. And this is what we need to get at in order to change that. This is the diffuser, and we're going to remove that. And then the first step is to remove these 4 screws. Remove the screws. This is where one handy tool to have with you is the tweezers. So the only tools you really need is a Phillips, a flathead, and a very small flathead screwdriver, I think, are all the tools, and the tweezers. And that should be all you need. Now, once you do the screws, notice I'm holding this together. Before you take it apart, you want to turn it in this direction, stick your finger in the hole here where you would normally read the reel, and pick this up. And the reason I'm holding it is that's keeping this changing plate from popping out. And the reason you want to do it in that direction is, you see these brass pieces here? These are the little fingers that keep the reel from, they index with the slots around the edge of the reel to have it click into position. And if you turn it over, these literally just fall out. If they do fall out, they go in with the little indexing, the little nub sticking out facing up. So we're done with that piece. Oh yeah, this piece also comes out. That'll fall out if it's upside down, and that's the screw on the bottom that holds the two halves of the viewer together. So we're going to set that aside, and now this is the important part to concentrate on. So I've been holding my finger in there to keep this from popping out. Now we will carefully, this is the changing plate, and we want to carefully lift this up. And that comes out sometimes. There's the changing plate has a spring on it. I think it's the other end that goes around first, because that spring later is going to catch over here, I believe. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. So save that changing plate for later. Now we're at the important part. Other videos I've seen, people remove all these screws and take the focusing mechanism completely out so you can get at the lens capsules, which are down there. Well, what I discovered is you don't have to do that, and that is the main purpose of this video. If you start by turning the focus so the lenses are as far out as they will go, and then take a tweezers, or actually I use a small flathead screw. I don't know if you can see, but in here there's a little piece that okay, so once we've extended the focus as far away as it'll go, and you look inside, this piece here is what's holding the lens capsule in, and it's just a pressure related thing, and you need a little flat screwdriver, or sometimes it's easier with a tweezer. There we go. And once we pry out that end of it, we can pull it out with the tweezers, and that's what the part looks like. So once we've got that out, and we'll do the same on the other side, get the tweezers to pull it out, and then this piece, these little fingers here, are going down in a channel, and it's literally just the friction of them spreading out in the channel on either side of it that's what holds them in place. So once those are out, we go back to the viewer, and now we can turn it over and take a screwdriver and just press one end, and now I've removed the two lens capsules. So the next step is to take them apart in order to clean the inside surfaces. To do that, we want a very tiny screwdriver. You might be able to do it with some pointed tip. And don't worry about if you chip the edge a little bit, because it's going to be masked off. But there I've just popped out that lens, and once you've done one, the other one just presses out. Once the lenses are out, I take just as if you were cleaning eyeglasses or some other optical item, I take a microfiber cloth, I have some lens cleaner, and I just give it a spray, and clean one lens. I'll clean the other lens. I'm not done, but I'm getting there. 3. And now I'll take a dry microfiber cloth, and again, just finish cleaning the lenses. And depending on how long you've had your viewer, they can get pretty foggy on the inside surfaces, and this just makes a huge difference. Now, something that's optional, I haven't done this, but Dr. T, George Themelis, he takes a flat black paint and paints the inner surface of this to reduce internal reflections. It helps. I have one that he's done that to, and It does improve the contrast a little. I won't say it's a huge difference if you're not up to doing that. Just cleaning the lenses alone is the main thing. So the next step is to put it back together. So I just lay it with, again, the flat surface. This is a plano convex lens, flat on one side, curved on the other. The flat side is going to face out. The curved side is facing towards the inside. So I just lay it, can you see it here?
Mm-hmm.
I just lay it flat on the table, press one lens in, and before I put it together, I take some canned air and just make sure there's nothing in there. And then I will take the other lens, make sure there's no dust on it, and then I'll use the microfiber cloth to squeeze it, and now I've pressed the two lenses back into the capsule again, so they're all the way in, flat side facing out. So that's one done, and now both lens capsules are clean and ready to go. Okay, so I've now cleaned the inner surfaces of both lenses, put them back together, and the next step is to put them back in the viewer. So again, I just sort of drop them in and then use a screwdriver to just sort of push them from underneath until you get it jiggled into where it drops into place. A little hard to show this. There we go. All right, that's one lens. It's a little hard to do this at an angle where I can show it to you. Pushing one edge with the screwdriver from the other side till it is about level. And then there we are. So now they're both dropped into place. And then these are the retaining rings. The fingers of this retaining ring drop down inside the channel at both the top and the bottom. And it's the friction of the little finger spreading out that holds it in place. So that's where I find it sort of easy to get one end in with the tweezers at a slight angle. Here we go. So once I feel that it's in place, then I just take a flat-headed screwdriver and press it. Okay, I'm doing a retaining ring on the other side, and for this I dug out different tweezers that makes it a little easier to keep it from rotating when I'm putting it in. And it's basically getting the far side in, and again it's just down in between the channels, and then do the final seating with a flat screwdriver, and now it is seated all the way in and both retaining rings are in, holding the lens capsules in place. So now ready for the last step, which is to put the changing plate back on and put it back together. It's very common for this spring to come off. If it does, if you can see here, the spring has a larger loop and a smaller loop. The smaller loop is the one that goes onto the changing plate. The other end, if you look down here at the viewer, this little nub that's sticking out, we're going to have to get this looped over that to hold it in place. So in order to do that, I think I'm going to hold it with the tweezers. Get the loop over that hole, or that post. And once it's on the post, I'm holding it in place with my finger. You slide the changing plate over until the center of it engages there. And now if you can see this, that's the spring that can loop over that post that's sticking out. And once the changing plate, I'm holding it in place with my fingers. Once that's in place, this is where you want it to be, and you want this part of it to be below this part sticking out where the screw is going to go. So I'm holding that, and that's where we're going to reverse what we did before. I'm going to hold it like this and stick my finger in here to hold the plate from popping out. And then you take this part, which is flat on the table, and you see this part here is going to engage and hold the screw in place. And that's what you line up to get this in place. And once that's lined up and in place, now I'm holding everything where it should go. I'm gonna, the plate moved a little bit, I'm pushing it back down. Before we put the screws back in, you want to make sure this moves freely. And I'm holding it together. And this is where we start dropping the screws back in. And like anything, I usually reverse screw them first a little to make sure they're engaged. And then you shouldn't have to, you want to be careful not to cross strip anything. So make sure if they're seated, they should just screw in easily. And again, I go backwards first, counterclockwise, or anti-clockwise if you're British, and then clockwise to screw it in. And now all four screws are in. We check if the changing plate is working properly. Make sure the changing plate is working okay. Next step is put the diffuser back into place, and then just put the batteries in and put it back together.
So the diffuser just snaps in?
Yeah, just snaps in.
Fits in place. Okay.
And that screw holds it together, and now it's Model D with clean lenses put back together. Okay, this is a little bonus section. This is the Model D that I use every day, and notice I've labeled it LED and AA. And the reason for that is this was a modification that I think George Themelis and maybe Wolfgang Sell both suggested. I forget who suggested what. But if I open this up, instead of the normal D batteries, these are these adapters that you can buy that are the size of a D battery, but inside there are two versions. One holds a single AA battery, and this one happens to hold two AA batteries. They will both work. And the other modification is instead of the normal bulb, which is a number 245, or there were also some halogen bulbs. This is an LED bulb. And for the LED, you have to reverse the batteries of the way it shows on the inside of the viewer. You have to reverse the polarity, and then you've got an incredibly bright LED light. And to me, the brighter the better. It's a little whiter, but which doesn't bother me. I guess you could add filters into the viewer if that bothered you. And the other advantage of using these kind of batteries is I find when I've left D batteries for a long time in viewers, over the years, we've had leaks. And the only answer to that was not to leave batteries in, and that was sort of inconvenient. And what I like about this is if the batteries ever leak, they're going to leak into this adapter, which is very cheap to replace, and it's not damaging your viewer. So this not only makes the viewer lighter than having two D batteries, the LED is brighter, and it stays bright almost no matter how much voltage is left in the batteries, so it stays bright until the batteries virtually die, and it doesn't need as much power, so it'll run off these AA's very nicely. So that's just a modification you might want to consider for your Model D viewer. It's easy to do. I got the adapters from Amazon. Some of the dealers like Dr. T, 3dstereo.com, Steve Berezin all sell these these LED bulbs that'll work. And this LED bulb also works in other stereo viewers. So that's the end of this presentation.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We learned a lot here today, boys and girls.